Welcome back to our channel, Edubbey Dynamic Solution. We want to treat another past question today on business study 2. We have paper 1 here for May-June 2022. And this here we have the paper 1 to be short answer and data response. You must answer all the questions in this paper, and whenever you are answering question, you must at least go through your instructions first. Now let's see what we have inside this question. Okay, we have our question 1 here. Let's quickly read through this appendix. Pamela is a successful entrepreneur. She's the owner of a gift shop selling celebration cards, toys, and candy sweets. When Pamela started her business 30 years ago, she had no help to manage the shop. She now has 5 employees. Pamela knows maintaining customer loyalty is important. She uses competitive pricing. Most of her marketing budget is spent on what? On sales promotion. Pamela does not use e-commerce. Now, based on this appendix, now we were told to answer some of the questions which we'll be finding under this question 1. Okay, the first one says define competitive pricing. What do you know about a competitive pricing? Let's try and add our test. Of course, it is setting a price similar to that of what? To that of competitors' products that are already existing in the market. Let's try and type the answer. Competitive pricing is what? It's setting a price. This is setting a price similar to what? Similar to that of the competitors' products. Products that are already established in the market. Yes, that are already established in the market. This is competitors' products. Now we have defined our competitive pricing. You can also say any product is priced in line or just below a competitor's price. It is also known as competitive pricing. Now let's see the second question that we have, which is question 1b. Define what? Marketing budget. Define a marketing budget. Let's try and add our test here. What did you understand by a marketing budget? Of course, it's the amount of money that is made available by the business for its marketing activities. Hope you are following me. Let's try and type. It is the amount of money made available by a business. Money by a business for its marketing. Let's try and add S to this. For its marketing activities. It can be doing a particular of time. Let's say doing a particular period of time. That's it. You've defined what your marketing budget is. It can also be a financial plan for the marketing of a product. Now let us see another question that we have here. Outline two threats to Pamela's business of using e-commerce. Of course, we were told in this appendix that Pamela does not use what? Does not use e-commerce. Now, assuming she actually used e-commerce, what are the threats that it could face? Okay, the first one is what? It will increase competition. Yes, because she will not be the only one using e-commerce for its business. So with that, it will increase competition. Let's say using what? Using e-commerce by Pamela will increase what? It will increase competition. To increase competition. And this will make it harder for her to calculate competitive price. It will increase the competition. Let's type it more, which will make it harder for her to calculate her competitive price. Now that is one. The second one is what? Unfamiliarities. It can also be a threat to Pamela's business using e-commerce. That is, when they don't know the business, customers are less likely to buy from the business. Let's try and type unfamiliarities. Yes, unfamiliarity. Let's say customers are less likely to buy what? To buy from a business they do not know. And that can actually lead to what? It will lead to lower sales or fewer sales of our toys. Okay, now let's move to another question. Let's try, okay, we have our question 1D. Explain two methods Pamela's business can use to maintain customer loyalty. How do you think Pamela can actually maintain her customers' loyalty? Of course, the first method is to communicate with the customer. That's the first method. It can be through social media, newsletters, etc. Let's say communication. The first one is communication with the customers. Now let's try and add our explanation to this. Let's try and add our explanation to this. Let's say Pamela should communicate with the customer. You can say either through social media or newsletters so that they will remember if they will remember our business so that we are not done, so that they will remember our business, which is what? What is our business? Candy, we have sweets, there we have toys. I say, let's put the candy, sweet, and let's stop. Okay, that's the first method she could actually use. Another one is what? She can also offer reward to the existing customer. Can also what? She can also offer reward to the existing customer so that they will return when they know they are going to get an incentive when they are buying our products. Let's try and type. We have the point here and we will have the explanation below. Okay, offer reward, yes. Let's try and type the point first. Offer reward to the existing customers. Yeah, now let's try and bring out our explanation. You can say Pamela should offer reward, should offer rewards to the what? To the existing customers. The existing customers so that the customer will have an incentive to return. Let's say so that they will have an incentive to return. Okay, now that we've explained two of the method, what other method do you think she can use? Of course, she can ask for feedback or carry out market research so that the item she is selling will match the what? The customer needs. Now let's see what we have in the next question here, which is question 1E. Do you think being a risk taker is more important characteristic of a successful entrepreneur than being creative? Justify your answer. Here, to answer this question, you must give us a point under risk taking as a characteristic and also being creative. Now let's start with the risk taking aspect here. The risk taking aspect, of course, a successful entrepreneur must take risks. Otherwise, of course, there is no business. Let's say a successful entrepreneur must take risks, or else, yes, or else there is no business. There is no business. Of course, when the entrepreneur is not taking any risk of starting the business, there is no business. And also taking risk is a way to learn. That's another point. Taking risks is a what? A way to learn. You learn whether the idea they are putting up is good or not, whether their idea is good or not. In that way, they are actually learning, and also taking risk also involve investing their money that may bring high reward if the business did not fail. Now let's see for creativity also. Then we now justify our answer based on the two. Okay, let's try and took this creative. Of course, being creative, an entrepreneur will create new idea. Let's say being creative, a entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur will create what? New ideas that can lead to increase in revenue. Entrepreneur, yes. New ideas that can lead to an increase in revenue. That's one. And it also add value. Let's say creativity also add value. It also add value. So when a successful entrepreneur is being creative, of course, it will add value, and he or she can actually charge high price, add value. Okay, now to see this, which one did you think, Pamela? Let's see our appendix here. Do you think being a which one is the more important characteristic of a successful entrepreneur here? Which one do you think is more important? Okay, of course, being creative will be more important. Why? Of course, you have to give your point. Let's try and raise this a little and add another test to bring out the one that is important. Okay, let's see. Being creative, let's say being what? Being creative may be more important according to us, may be more important characteristic, may be more important characteristic. Why? We now say because it will be making a business different to its competitor when she's creating a new idea, making a business different to its competitor, to its competitors, which can lead to an increase in sales, which can lead to an increase in sales. This is characteristic. Okay, should be make a business because it will make a business different. Yes, being creative will create a new idea that can increase your revenue, can also add value to your business too. It can also add value to your business here. Then you might have to charge a high prices that will lead to your increase in revenue. Okay, let's see the next question that we have. Let's see the next question. Okay, we have question 2 here. CTM is a public limited company. It manufactures bed using batch production. The operations director is using break-even analysis to calculate the margin of safety for children's bed. An extract from CTF's output data is shown in table 2.1, which is this. The operations director wants to know how an increase in inflation might affect CTF. She knows there are many environmental pressures that a manufacturing business could respond to. Now, our first question here says, define public limited company. What do we understand by public limited company? Of course, you are correct. It's a business owned by shareholders and they can sell shares to the public. Yes, they can sell to the public and their sale are also tradable on what? On the stock exchange. Now let's try and put our definition here. Is a what? It is a business owned by shareholders. A business. It is a business owned by shareholders, but they can sell shares. Let's say what they can sell shares to the public and also their shares are tradable on the stock exchange market. On the stock exchange, you can leave it like this or you can leave it as this is public. Also their share, yes, can leave your definition as this. This one, it's this one capitalized. Okay, comma. Now we define this. Now the second question says, calculate the margin of safety for CTF's children's bed. Show your workings. So to answer this question now, we are going to use this table 2.1. We are going to use what? We are going to use table 2.1. Okay, now to calculate the margin of safety. Now, of course, we have the current level of output minus your break-even output. Of course, remember we were told to show our workings before we can write the final answer. Now let's write out the formula here. You say the what? The current level of output minus what? Minus your break-even output. The break-even output. Now let's see what we have for our current level of output. We have 18,000. Okay, let's go and type. We have 18,000 minus our break-even output is what? We have 14,000. Okay, let's write. We have 14,000. So our final answer here will now be what? Of course, 4,000. That is your final answer. That is your final answer. Now we've answered that. Let us move to question 2C. Question 2C says, outline 2 ways an increase in inflation might affect CTF. Outline 2 ways that you think an increase in inflation might affect CTF. Of course, the first one that will come to your mind is the increase in the raw materials that she will use to manufacture the bed. The first way and the second way. Okay, let's try and write the first way first. Let's say an increase in inflation, increase in inflation will lead to what? To lead to an increase in the raw materials for manufacturing bed. Manufacturing beds. That's the first one. That's the first way that an increase in inflation can actually affect CTF. And also prices may have to increase. Prices will, let's say it can also to lead to an increase in price, but you cannot leave it like this. You can say customers might not be able to afford to pay the price, might not be able to afford it, which can lead to fewer sales, which can lead to fewer sales. You've outlined afford. It can lead to fewer sales. You've outlined this. Also, when there is an increase in inflation rate, of course, you should know the employees can actually ask for a pay rise too. That is also an effect to R. Now let us see another question. Okay, we have question 2D. Explain two possible advantages to what? To CTF using batch production. What are the advantages of using batch production? Of course, the first one that should come to your mind is the flexibility. When CTF is producing goods in a what? Specified goods or in a large amount, there will be flexibility of changing any type of bed demand by customer. Let's say the first advantage here is what? Flexibility. Okay, let's say flexibility. Now let's try and put the explanation below here. Flexibility, as it is easy to change, let's say flexibility as it is easy to change types of beds. Flexibility as it is easy to change type of bed requested by the customers. Of course, when a product is produced in a specified group amount or in a large amount, it will be easy to change any one required by a customer. Okay, another one is what? CTF will also benefit from economies of scale when it is using batch production. Let's try and type and put our explanation underneath. Okay, economies of scales. Economies of scales. Economies, yes, economies of scale. it will benefit from it by buying the raw materials in bulk. Let's say CTF will benefit from economies of scale as it can buy, let's say it will be able to buy, let's put it that way, to be able to buy raw materials in bulk. And this can actually do what? It can help to reduce the average cost, which as it will be able to buy raw materials in bulk, and this will reduce its average cost of producing what? Producing beds. We've identified two advantages. Of course, there are many. Producing variety of products can also lead to an increased sales, as we all know. Okay, now let's move to the next question, which is question 2E. Do you think manufacturing business should always respond to what? Should always respond to environmental failures? Justify your answer. Why do you think they should always respond to environmental failure? Of course, you have to give a point why a business must respond to environmental failure before you can justify your answer. Of course, the first reason is what? To enhance their brand image and reputation. That should be the first one that will come to your mind. To enhance what? To enhance what? Brand image or reputation. To enhance brand image or reputation. Another one is what? It can be to reduce the risk of customer boycott. Let's say to reduce the risk of customer boycott, so that they will not be telling each other the negative part of the business, of the what's wrong. Okay, they will not be telling themselves. It can also help to attract what? It can also help to attract investment. It helps to attract investor. It helps to attract investor when they are responding to environmental failure. Now that we have seen this, how do you think this can also be a disadvantage to them? Of course, they might need to buy new equipment. Let's say the business might need to buy new equipment, and that will increase their cost, as we all know, which will increase their cost. It will increase the cost. It can also reduce productivity, and let's say it also reduces productivity and can lead to lower profits. I hope you are following me before you can bring out your justification to this. You have to give your valid points why they should respond to the environmental failure. Your justification might include what? Let's try and put our justification based on what we have here. Okay, let's bring this down a little bit. Let's say responding to what? To responding to environmental failure. Of course, as you can see, it can improve the reputation of the business. Responding to environmental failure can improve what? Can improve the reputation of the business, which leads to, it can lead to an increase in sales and also the revenue. Increase in sales and at the same time the revenue. Of course, when they are responding to environmental failure, which leads to an increase in sales and at the same time revenue. Okay, which leads to an increase in sales and at the same time. And also we have to see the other side of this. Their revenue gain could offset the cost of responding to the environmental failure. Let's say the what? The revenue gain might offset the cost of responding to the environmental failure. Environmental failure. So, if they can't find the resources they need as the competitive price, they will have to respond to the failure. This is responding. Yes. Okay. Now let us move to the next question. Let's see what we have. Okay, we have another question here, question 3. We have question number 3. Let's quickly go through this appendix first before we can come back to our question. VCG manufactures high-quality briefcases and travel bags. VCG has 50 skilled production workers in its factory. Okay, VCG is planning to expand by building a second factory. Different locations are being considered. The managing director is reviewing VCG's financial statements. An extract is shown in table 3.1, which is this one. Okay, the manager director, okay, we are done. Both internal and external stakeholders groups of VCG are interested in this information. Now, directly to our question. Question 3A says, define shareholders' equity. What do you understand by shareholders' equity? Of course, it is simply defined as share capital plus reserves. If you want to put it in formula, it is known as your share capital with what? With reserves. Now let's put it in a sentence now is the total money invested into the business by the owner of the company, that is the shareholders. Let's say it is what? It is the total sum of money invested by the owner of the business, which is shareholders. Invested in the business. They invest this in the business by the owners of the company. By the owner of the company. By the owner of the company. Okay, which is the shareholders. That is shareholders equity. Okay, now let's move to the second question. Identify two financial statements a publicly limited company is legally required to publish each year. Okay, which one can you remember? Of course, the first one is what? Income statement. Good. Income what? Income statement or your profit and loss account. Let's try and type income statement. Okay, income statement or your what? Or your profit and loss account. Another one is what? Statement of financial position. Statement of financial position or your balance sheet. Statement of financial position or your balance sheet. Now here we have question 3C. State whether each of the following are what? Are classified as a current asset or a current liability. We have overdraft, we have trade receivables, trade payables, and cash in bank. Okay, overdraft is what? Is a current liability, of course. Your overdraft is a current liability. Let's try and put this text box in each so that it can make it faster. Okay, we classify this as what? Overdraft as current liability. And your trade receivable is what? Your trade receivable, also known as debtors. We have it as current asset. It is current asset. Your tradable is what? Your tradable is also known as your creditors. It is also classified as current liability. Current liability. This current liability. And the cash in bank is what? Of course, it is current asset. Is liability. Liability. I think we are missing something here. Okay. And your cash in bank, as I said, is what? Current asset. Current assets. That's it. We've classified them. Now let us move to another question that we have. Okay, explain one way each of the following stakeholders group might use VCG's account. We were told in the appendix that both the internal and external shareholders groups of VCG are interested in the information, that is the extract of 3.1. Okay, now let's see the reason why they are interested in it. We have our shareholders and we have the suppliers. Why do you think the shareholders are interested in the business information? Of course, it helps them to access the business performance or the profit so that they can ensure whether they will receive a dividend or returns on their investment. Okay, let's say it helps it helps them to access the business performance. That's point. Now let us put the explanation underneath. Okay, let's say they are interested in the financial statement to see whether they will receive a dividend, on their investment from the manufacturer. That is one. Of course, it can also help them to decide whether to continue investing in the business or not when they assess the business performance. Now to suppliers now. Why do you think suppliers are also interested in their financial statement? Here they have the revenue of $2 million. They have the current asset of $300,000, and they have the current liability of what? $250,000. They also have the shareholders equity fund, which is what? 800,000. Okay, let's put it in test now. Why do you think the supplier will be interested in the financial statement? Of course, they use it to see the total level of the business debt. They use this to see the total level of the business debt. To see the level of the business debt. Now let us try and explain here. Let's try and explain. They are interested in the financial statement. Their investment in the financial statement to see the level of debt, that is the current liability. Let's say the one we have here, we have at $250,000, whether they should offer more credit or not, whether they should offer more credit or not. That is why they are also interested in their financial statement. They are also interested in it to see whether the business has sufficient cash to pay them back, even when they sold to the business on credit. Okay, now let us move to the next question here as we are done with this. Do you think access to labor is the most important factor for a manufacturing business to consider when deciding where to locate a new factory? Justify your answer. Okay, now let us bring out our point in accessing labor when locating to a new factory. Of course, when a manufacturing business is using labor-intensive production, it will require labor skills to require access to labor. Let's say labor-intensive, let's say manufacturing require labor-intensive to operate, so they should consider access to labor. Also, they can also depend on the type of worker required, whether it is skilled, that it is skilled. Let's say they can depend on type of workers required, that is the unskilled workers may not easy to find, on the type of workers required. One of the disadvantages here is that skilled labor may be difficult to find. Skilled labor may be difficult to find, and that can actually increase what? It will increase recruitment. Let's say which can increase recruitment. Okay, what other factors do you think, apart from accessing to labor, to consider when locating to the new factory? Of course, access to raw materials is also there. Access to raw materials, access to raw materials, so their production will not be delayed and nearer to market. You can also consider that too, nearer to the market, so that they will have sales and they will have enough revenue. Also, don't forget good transport, what? Good transport link, so that goods will be arriving when needed. Transport link. Now, based on this, let us justify our answer based on this labor that is important for a manufacturing business to consider. Okay, now let us add our text box. Let us add our text box and put a little justification here. Let's say accessing what? Accessing labor should be considered when relocating to the new factory, because skilled labor might be difficult to find. Skilled labor might be difficult to find and can increase recruitment cost. and can increase recruitment, recruitment cost, can increase recruitment cost. That is your first point of accessing labor. And also factory machine can also replace some labor, which can reduce the importance of labor in the location decision. Okay, let's leave it like this and let's move to the next question. Okay, we have question number 4 here. Question number 4 says, let's read this appendix first before we can move to the question. MBH is a business organization in the public sector. It controls 5 hospitals and has 5,600 employees, including 440 doctors. Okay? External recruitment is used when recruiting skilled employees. The Human Resources Director uses ideas from Asberg theories to improve employee motivation. He is worried about communication barrier with MBH. The business has a tall organizational structure and a long chain of command. Most of MBH's internal communication is by email and what? And phone calls. Now we are going to use this appendix throughout this question 4. Question 4A now says, identify what? Identify 2 objectives for a business organization in the what? In the public sector. Here now we are now talking about private sector. For public sector, of course, they will make product or service affordable to all. That is one of their objectives. Okay, let's identify the 2 here. To make what? To make product or service affordable to all. To make product or service affordable to all, and also to provide service to everyone. To provide service to everyone. Should we use, okay? To make product, let's leave it like this, not services. To provide service to everyone. To provide service to everyone. They can also create job in certain area. That is also an objective of a public sector. Okay, now let's move to the next question. Okay, question B says, define chain of demand. What do you understand by chain of demand? Of course, it shows how communication and tasks are being passed down the business from top to bottom. Let's put it in text to define our chain of demand. Yes, chain of demand. Let's type chain of command shows how communication and tasks are passed down the business from the top or from the top to the bottom. Yes, you can leave it like this one. You can also say it is the roads, it is the route through which authority is passed down through an organization. We are still saying the same thing. Now that we have defined what chain of command is, let's see the next question, which is question 4C. Outline two ways MBH can use ideas from Asberg's theories to motivate its what? Its employees. To motivate its employees. Using Asberg's theory to motivate employees, of course, it could include giving employees more responsibility. Now let us try and add it in text. We are told to just outline two. Okay, let's say MBH could give employees more responsibility. More responsibility, you can say, in the hospital, in the responsibility. Or you can give the how, then you can say 440 employees, 440 doctor, or you can use the employee. Let's just use the employee in the hospital. When you give the employees more responsibility, they won't be bored with only one task. They won't be bored with only one task. Should give employees. Okay, let's try and reduce this before we can identify another way by Asberg here. Okay, it can also give chance for promotion. Let's say MBH again. MBH can also give chances for promotion, as they have what they have tall organizational structure, as they have a tall organizational structure. That is, we have identified two. Of course, it can also offer more praise for good work done by the employees. Can also offer more praises for the good work done by the employees. Now let us move to the next question. Let us move to the next question. What do we have? Okay. Explain how MBH might reduce or remove each of the following communication barriers. Okay, the first one is messages lost. The second one is what? Use of jargons. Okay, how can MBH reduce the communication barriers? Of course, when messages is lost, the first thing MBH will actually do is to ask for what? To ask for feedback. To ask for feedback. Ask for what? MBH should should ask for feedback. Now let's try and put this in an outline too, since we have the space for the explanation. MBH should ask for feedback to ensure the message has been received by the 5 hospitals. To ensure that the message is received by all 5 hospitals that he has. Hospitals. That's the first one. When the message is lost, the best thing is to ask for feedback or making sure the medium of communication is suitable. Now, use of jargons here. Of course, the first one is to use simple language. That is a way that the communication barriers can be removed. Let's say MBA should use a what? MBA should use a simple language. Should use a simple language. Let's try and explain this maybe on the mail or on the phone so that it will be understood by everyone. Okay, let's try and type the explanation here before we can move to. Okay, MBA should use simple language on the email so that it will be easy for the employees to understand. It can also be to make sure the language is appropriate to the receiver so that there will not be any misunderstanding. Now we move to the next question, which is question 4E. Question 4E says, do you think an organization should always use external recruitment when recruiting skilled employees? Justify your answer. You have to give some point of bringing in an external workers and also an internal workers before you can justify your answer for this particular question. Of course, when you are dealing with external recruitment, the workers will bring in new skills that could actually motivate your productivity. Let's say external recruitment, what is this? External recruitment will bring in new skills or ideas that could help to improve productivity. Improve productivity. Next one, boost the business of the business. Of course, that is not all. Improve the productivity, that is not all. He or she can also bring in valuable knowledge. Let's say he or she can also bring in valuable knowledge, valuable knowledge and experience or an experience of competition. Okay, that is not all. We have seen the advantages of recruiting from outside. Now, yes, it will cost higher recruitment cost. That is one of the disadvantages. Let's say external recruitment can lead to what? It can lead to a high recruitment cost. Recruitment cost. Yes, it can lead to a high recruitment cost. That is one. And also when no suitable candidates in the business, that is why the external recruitment can actually take place. There's also one disadvantage that I would like to add to this. An external worker, let's say an external workers will take longer to fill the vacancy, longer to fill the vacancy. So more time will be spent. No. Okay, that is that on external recruitment. Now to the internal recruitment. Now let's try and add our text also and put little points on internal recruitment. Of course, it can help to motivate other employee. Let's say internal what? Internal recruitment. Internal recruitment will motivate other employees and it can lead to fewer people leaving the job. Yes, internal workers can also create another vacancy. Let's say internal promotion can also create another vacancy that is needed to be filled instead of wasting time to have an external workers. Now we move to our justification. Now based on this, do you think the organization should always use external recruitment? Did you think they could actually use external recruitment or internal recruitment? Which one did you let's try and drag this up before we can bring in our justification. Okay, let's try and add the text box. Let's try and add the text box. Now let's develop this based on what we have here. Let's say external recruitment can bring new ideas, can bring in new ideas that helps to improve productivity, whereas internal recruitment can help to motivate other employees, which lead to fewer people leaving. Bring in a new idea leads to fewer people leaving. Though it depends on the skills within the business, because if there is no suitable workers, external recruitment would be the only choice. Now, I think this brings us to the end of this video. Kindly like, subscribe, share to your friends, and if you have any question, kindly put your comments below. See you in the next video.